Like I'm going to have to look up there because maybe I had some computer issues. When we read our main verses, it was about a blind man. And if I kind of go back just a little bit, and the part that says, after that, he put his hand again upon his eye and made him look up, and he was restored and saw clearly, every man clearly. And what I want to do is go back here. And what I did was I looked up the scriptures where Jesus healed blind people. And I wanted to get an understanding. So if you do have your Bibles at home, or if you're here, you can see it on the screen. We're going to go to Matthew 9, verse 27. What we're also going to do is be going through maybe 4 or 5 or 6 instances where Jesus healed somebody that was blind or some people that were blind. And in Matthew 9 and 27, it says, and when Jesus departed from there, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, thou son of David, have mercy on me. The first thing that struck my mind with that was, how somebody blind will follow somebody? You know, you think about what I'm saying. So I'm saying that they followed the sounds of the people. And how did they know who he was? Because as we read the noise, and then maybe heard Jesus' sermon, because see, blind folks and crippled folks hang out by the temple. And that's what Jesus was teaching. And the next verse says, and when he was coming to the house, the blind man came to him, and Jesus said unto them, now, they were bold. They went right in somebody's house. No invitation, no nothing. They were desperate to be able to see. And in this talk, I'm talking spiritually seeing, not naturally seeing. Believe ye that I am able to do this? And they said unto him, yea, Lord. Now, you won't see the word yes. You always see yea. Yea, Lord. So then the 29, then touched he their eyes, saying, according to what be it unto you. A lot of times, a lot of things are done according to what? Your faith. Then, I think I did touch his eyes according to his faith. And their eyes were opened. And Jesus straightly charged them, saying, see that no man know it. And I said to myself, Brother Stan, why he keep saying don't tell anybody? Because sometimes people are running around trying to see the miracles and not concerned about the word. Because a lot of times they were saying, show us a miracle, show us a wonder. And there's a lot of churches where that's going on today. People want to, want you to walk on water, do this, do that. And they're not really interested in the word. But I don't know if it's all on there, but when they departed, spread abroad his fame in all that country. They did the opposite. Told them, don't do that. But the songwriter said, I couldn't do what? Tell nobody, but I couldn't keep it to myself. And then Matthew 12 and 22. Then was brought unto him one possessed with the devil, blind and dumb, and he healed them, and so much that the blind and the dumb both spoke and saw. And notice there's a difference. The first 2 blind guys, they found their own way. They used their own voice. But notice what happened in this one. He was possessed with the devil, which means not only that Jesus had to heal him, he had to do what to that devil? Cast out the devil. Not only this here, he was blind and what? And dumb. So he couldn't do what for himself? Couldn't do what? Couldn't speak for himself. He didn't have the ability to say what he needed So we had somebody else, y'all following me, as a surrogate to speak for them. And that tells me that sometimes we have to speak for somebody else that's spiritually blind and don't know what's going on. Because the Bible said not only was he blind, he was unable to speak, and he was possessed with the devil. And a person like that had to be brought to Jesus. Are y'all following me? The next time Jesus healed somebody who was blind, and behold, two blind men sitting by the wayside, when they what? Heard that Jesus passed by, they cried out, saying, have mercy on us. Who? Oh Lord. They knew who he was. They knew who he was. And there's some people who know who Jesus is, but they don't want to activate their knowledge. And verse 31 says, and the multitude rebuked him because they should hold their peace. Sometimes you need something, somebody going to tell you to be quiet, to shut up. The multitude, a whole bunch of people rebuked both of them because you should be quiet. But what happened to them? But they cried out the more, saying, have mercy on us, O son, O Lord, thou son of David. In other words, you can't let anybody get in your way when you're trying to achieve something. These blind men were trying to get their healing so they could get off of what we would call welfare. They're trying to get off welfare so they could be gainfully employed. And here goes this bunch of people. Jeff said it earlier in Sunday school. If everybody is wrong, I don't want to, you can't go by the crowd. You have to go by that which is right. And they said, you want me to stop? I'm going to call on them tomorrow. Notice this verse. And Jesus stood still. Jesus was walking. He was following them. And sometimes you have a situation that's so desperate that you got to make Jesus take it out of drive, the Lord, and just put it in park. And Jesus stood still and called them and said, what ye that I should do unto you? He already knew what they needed, but he needed to hear it verbally from them. And they say to him, Lord, that our eyes may be opened. Jesus had what on them? And did what? Touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they received and they followed him. Then in Matthew 21 and 13, Jesus had a little conversation with the disciples, and he said to them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. You know there's a den of thieves in the church. I don't believe that. I was on YouTube or Facebook, and some of the richest pastors in the world are where? Nigeria. I mean, filthy rich people. And they have people doing weird stuff, eating grass, and had somebody faking like they were raised from the dead. And anyway, and the blind and the lame came into the temple. And came to him in the temple, and he healed them. Some people got healed on the street. Some people got healed in a house. And these guys, they got healed in the temple. Mark 10, verse 46. And they came to Jericho, and he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great number of people. Blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, should have been sat by the highway side begging. And when he heard it was Jesus of Nazareth, now notice this here. Why do they say Jesus of Nazareth? Because there was a whole lot of Jesuses. You have to understand, Jesus is just a transliteration of Joshua or Jeshua. And there were a lot of Joshuas and a lot of Jeshuas, but they were talking about this guy from Nazareth. Sometimes we wonder about our names. For example, if your name is Smith, then that meant years ago you were either a blacksmith, a silversmith, or something like that. Okay? And that's sometimes your name is based on it. Your name was Banks, that meant your house was near the banks of a river. That's the way there's a guy named Billy Ocean. That name comes from he lived near the ocean. So he said, particular, Jesus of Nazareth. He began to cry and say, Jesus, thou son of David. Now that I know where you're from, now I know who you are. Sometimes if people know where you're from, they kind of know who you are. Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me. And notice this in 48. And many charged, asked that he should hold his peace. Why is it that when these people are trying to get themselves together, there's somebody that's got to say, why don't you be quiet? But he cried what? More, a great deal. Thou son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stood still. Notice this here. What happened again? He stopped moving. And when they called the blind man, saying unto him, be of good cheer, get up. He called thee. The other people said, be happy. You can get up. See, the point is that the blind wasn't moving. He was being, the reason why he got louder, because he wasn't moving. He had to get louder. He didn't have a microphone, a megaphone. And so they said, they called thee. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. I thought about that, Brother Sam. Why did he throw away his outer clothes, not his coat? And in the Old Testament, it says that if somebody owes you money, you cannot take that outer garment. This man was so confident that he was going to be healed. Y'all following me? That he said, I know I'm going to be healed. I don't need this raggedy coat no more. When I get through with this healing, I'm not even going to go to Kmart. I'm going to get me a good coat. I'm going to get me a good job. Y'all ain't going with me because I believe that something is going to happen. It also symbolizes that I'm taking off the old me and I'm putting on a new me. And notice this here. And I'm going to see if I can go back. He threw his garment away. He didn't lay it aside. And casting means to throw. He threw his garment and came to Jesus. And when Jesus answered and said unto him, what do you want me to do for you? The blind man said unto him, Lord, that I might receive my sight. Jesus said unto him, go your way. Your faith has made you whole. And immediately he received his sight and did what? And still followed Jesus. All right. Oh my goodness. Here's another blind man. Luke 18 and 35. And it came to pass that as he was come nigh near unto Jericho. A lot of stuff happened in Jericho. A certain blind man sat by the wayside begging. And hearing the multitude pass, he asked, what does this mean? They told him that Jesus of Nazareth was passing by. And he cried, saying, Jesus, notice this here. These blind people know theology. They know theology. Son of David, have mercy on me. And they which went before rebuked him that he should do what? Are you noticing a pattern? But he cried out, how? Thou son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stood, he stopped, and commanded him to be brought unto him. And when he was come near, he asked him, notice, saying, what will thou that I should do? What do you want me to do? And he said, Lord, that I may receive my sight. Let me explain something to you. Sometimes you have to be specific in your prayer life. I photographed a lady's birthday party a couple of weeks ago. I lost the little thing called a scan disc. It's a little thing about that big. I couldn't find it. I looked through all, and y'all know I shoot a lot of pictures. I looked through all of my pictures. I could not find it. I had to put all these things in the computer and look at them and say, no, that's not the one. That was so-and-so's birthday. No, that's not the one. That was so-and-so's. And then I reached the point, I walked away. I said, Lord, help me to find this disc, scan disc, whatever you call it. I went away. And like a little voice in my head said, why don't you try this one? You ever have like a little debate with your mind? My mind said, I already tried it. I tried this thing 3 times. Why am I going to try it? He said, put it in. I put it in, and then my good friend, Pastor Francis, and his wife popped up. Beautiful picture. I said, wow, look at this. I got a beautiful picture of Francis. And I said, that was taken at Bishop so-and-so's banquet. And I looked again and I said, no, that wasn't taken at Bishop so-and-so's banquet. That was taken at the woman's birthday party. So sometimes you have to give God a specific answer to your prayer. Sometimes you say, Lord, I need money. Be specific. Lord, I need money to pay my rent. Be specific. And let me get on. And Jesus said unto him, receive thy sight. What happened? Your faith has made thee whole. Oh, Lord, here's another one. John 9:1, and I'm skipping. This is one of the longest verse, chapters in the Bible, in John. And Jesus passed by, and he saw a man which was blind from his birth. Notice the difference. The other blind people asked for help. Am I right? This time, Jesus was walking, and he saw the blind man. And as long, and I'm skipping some verses, his disciples said to him, what did this man do that he has not been able to see? What did his mama do? What did his daddy do? Sometimes you have a hard time, and people trying to complain, put on your mama and your daddy. So I kind of skip some stuff. As long as I am in the world, I am what? The light of the world. And when he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle. Notice the way this happens. Some people he touched. This guy, he can make mud, put it in a man's eyes, and anoint his man's eyes with the clay. And then he said, go and wash in the pool of Siloam. He went and therefore he washed and came sitting. Now, this one is when, I think this is the last part of my sermon. You're going to notice something a little bit different. And he came to Bethesda, and they, what? Did Jesus ask for this person? Right? Did the man ask for anything? No. They bring a blind man unto him and besought him to touch him. Let me move my screen up just 1 minute. In the other healings, did they tell Jesus what to do? Did they say touch him, spit on him, slap him? These guys are trying to trick Jesus. They're trying to instruct Jesus how to do what he's going to do. Are y'all following? And Jesus, took the man by the hand and led him out of the city. In other words, he didn't want a crowd around him, the naysayers around him. And when he had spit on his eyes, and they said to touch him, Jesus, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to spit on this man. And put his hands upon him, and here's the thing, and asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. And I thought about that. Why? is this man seeing people walking as trees. Why? And then I could see the other people who brought him there saying, see, I told you this man is a phony. He can't heal anybody. He can't do this. He can't do that. I see people walking as trees. After that, he put his hands again upon his eyes and made him look up. And I said, why is the man looking up? Because he might have been embarrassed. Can you imagine? You know, Jaquetta going to get her eyes, she's in the line. Jesus gonna spit on her face, right? And Jesus never asked the other people, what do you see? Because he knew the man wasn't seeing right. There's Jaquetta out there, she got spit all in her face. And they said, Jaquetta, what do you see? I see my husband walking like a tree. And that's kind of embarrassing. And Jesus said, I want you to look up. And he was restored and saw, listen, he didn't see everything clearly. He saw the people clearly. And he sent them away to his house, neither go into the town, nor tell anyone in this town. Sometimes we need to get our eyes fixed. Spiritually. You got to stop seeing what you're seeing. You have to stop it. You have to see bright, cheerful things. Oh yeah, you have to do this here. I want you to go home today and get your favorite drink, water, Kool-Aid, soda. Fill it up to the glass and fill it halfway up. Just fill it halfway. And then I want you to ask yourself, what am I looking at? What am I looking at? And I don't want you to say it's half empty. Because if you say it's half empty, that means it's going to be gone. But I want you to look at that glass and say it's half full, which means what? More is coming. Look at life like that. Look at life like that. That it looks like it's half empty. No, it's half full. If you're driving a car right now, I went to get gas and the gas station had no gas. I don't know if I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I stopped to get a cup of coffee and some gas, and my tank is like maybe half on the half part. And I said, oh, what's up with the gas? He said, something wrong with the computer. I said, here I go. These computers, because if the computer don't work, they can't take your credit card, right? Am I correct? Because, when you bring up the gas, it goes right to them. And so when I get in my car, I'm not going to say it's half empty. I'm going to say it's half full because I'm putting some more gas up in there. So that's the way. I know I didn't hoop and holler today, but it gives you a way to look at the scriptures and study the scriptures and notice the fine details in the scriptures. And remember, we were talking about spiritual blindness. I've been working around handicapped kids since we moved to Pennsylvania. How many years is that? 19 years? Been that long? I don't know. I've only seen one blind student in all that time. Because nowadays, physically, they have, like when a baby is born, they put certain stuff in their eyes, and they have operations they could do. So you just don't see the same amount of blind people. But I'm talking spiritually blind people. Don't be spiritually blind. Go to Jesus. And you have a choice. When he heals you, either you can run and tell it, or you can keep it to yourself. All right. It's time for our offering. Just do the best you can. That's all I'm saying. And my engineer, he can stop the video. And we're on our way.
Just a reminder for everyone that's on Zoom and in the church that next Sunday, the first Sunday, the number $30. That's included. We don't have to debt along anything.